Hello, everybody. Welcome to cricketworld.com. We are back again with our daily insights right here on cricketworld.com. And as always, I've got my friend and colleague Nikhil Narayan to look at what's happening in the world of cricket. Nikhil, the weekend in the Women's World Cup belonged to the captains of England and Australia. Saturday it was the English captain, and Sunday it was the Australian captain. Both stood tall with their batting efforts for their sides in differing circumstances, one might add.
Absolutely, Chandresh. England, a fantastic win over Sri Lanka, by 89 runs. So a comprehensive victory for England. Uh, a brilliant runner ball, 117 by skipper Nat Sciver-Brunt, showing her class, showing her pedigree. Sri Lanka were given a good base by Hasina Pereira, Chandresh, and Harshita Samara Vikrana. They were 95 for 1 around in the 20th over. But then Sophie Eccleston, the great slow left-arm orthodox, triggered a collapse, picking 4 wickets in quick succession, reducing Sri Lanka to 116 for 5. And the match was done and dusted. 10 overs, 3 maidens, 17 runs, 4 wickets. What a brilliant spell by Sophie Eccleston. So, a fantastic, comprehensive win for England against Sri Lanka. Consolidating their position, amongst the top two teams in this World Cup.
Yeah, and then when we moved to Sunday, we had the side of Alyssa Healy leading from the front for her side with a fantastic performance with the bat, chasing down a massive total, the highest total ever in women's ODI cricket. Fantastic effort by Alyssa Healy in that sense, and they seem to have a performer with the bat in every match, whether it is Beth Mooney, Ashley Gardner, the skipper herself, Elise Perry chips in with runs whenever required. They seem to have a star with the bat, with the ball for every occasion.
What a great performance by Australia, Chandresh. As you said, the highest chase in women's ODI history, chasing down India's 330 in a thriller with 1 over to spare, 3 wickets in hand. Alyssa Healy, what a knock, a 142 of 107 balls, 21 fours, 3 sixes. So basically 102 runs coming only of boundaries. It was a great chase by Australia. And India would be self shocked with the defeat. I mean, what does any team, leave alone India, have to do to beat this Australian team? The only, I mean, India played. India had a great match. I mean, I think the only where they faltered, India, was in the death overs. They should have scored more, but India lost a few wickets in the death overs, and instead of getting a score of around 350, 360, they ended up with 330. So they were 20 to 30 runs short from 294 for 4 in the 43rd over to 330 all out. They were 20 to 30 runs short. But I mean, who is
And
to
not even
say
batting out their 50 overs. They were
exactly?
seven
But
balls
who
short. Yeah.
Exactly. But who is to say, Chandresh, that even if India scored 350, this Australian team wouldn't have chased it down. They would have increased their tempo. I mean, they hammered 82 in the power play, which was the highest ever in the first 10 overs. So, India has some issues. I don't think batting is a problem per se. Yes, the collapse in the death overs was a bit of an issue, but I think the bowling needs to defend a total like 330, even against a team like Australia. Yes, the wicket was good for batting, but India needs more from from the opening bowlers. India needs more from the spinners in the middle overs, because otherwise they're going to find it difficult against top teams like Australia and England. But still, Chandresh, I mean, a lot of positives for India from this defeat. Smriti Mandhana back in form. We were all worried. The Indian fans were worried. In fact, just she didn't score in the first 3 encounters. But in this encounter, she completed 1,000 runs in 2025, becoming the first woman cricketer ever to achieve the feat in one-day cricket. She also became the youngest and quickest to reach 5,000 runs in women's ODIs. She seems to be playing against the best team. Australia seems to get the best out of Smriti Mandhana, Chandresh. 200s and 350s in her last 5 matches against Australia. Finally, also India's, if you see overall, their top order fired. The century stand by the openers, 155. which was the highest opening stand versus Australia by any team in one-day international cricket. There were many positives for India with the bat, especially Smriti Mandana's form. But overall, they would be disappointed. Even at 303 for seven, India would have fancied their chances when they reduced Australia 303 for seven. But then the experience, the class of Elise Perry took over along with Kim Garth, good support from the other end. She took Australia through. But make no mistake. I mean, this Australian team, Chandresh, is as dominating, if not more, in terms of the way they win, in terms of their ruthlessness, in terms of statistics also, than the all-time great Australian men's team of the late 1990s and the early 2000s under different captains, Stephen Waugh, Ricky
Yeah.
Ponting. So this Australian team is no less than that team. So any opposition has their work cut out if they want to beat this Australian team.
Yeah, Annabelle Sutherland picked up 5 wickets and played a big part in triggering that Indian collapse, about which Nikhil spoke about. Now, looking at the points table, the Australian team is right at the top, followed by England. India is still in the third place, but they are dawdling a bit after two successive defeats at the hands of South Africa and then Australia. New Zealand is on the fifth spot, and then follows the three other teams: Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, and Pakistan. It's going to be interesting because today uh, South Africa take on their opponents in the next game of the Women's World Cup. How do you see this particular game? Interesting because the last game, Nadine de Klerk played a big part with the bat and pulled off a miraculous chase.
Absolutely. Bangladesh versus South Africa, Chandresh, is going to be a very interesting encounter. Bangladesh started off well, pulling off I would say, a surprise win over Pakistan, but then they lost to England and New Zealand. Batting collapse versus New Zealand, 127 all out. Also against England, the batting did not do well for Bangladesh, Chandresh, 178 all out. They need more substantial contributions from their opener, Rubia Heather, and the captain, Nigar Sultana. South Africa, on the other hand, what a turnaround for them, 69 all out versus England. But since then, the campaign has seen a dramatic transformation. They chased down 231 with relative ease against New Zealand, and then the massive chase, a win over co-host India, chased down 251 in a thriller. So, they have some world-class players. If you look at, South Africa, there's Laura Volvare, there's Tasmin Brits, there's Sunil Luz, all amongst the runs in the last two matches. Also, a special mention for Non-Kululeko Malaba, who was a slow left-arm orthodox spinner who's been their best bowler in the tournament so far. 6 wickets at an economy rate of just 4.3. So, South Africa, I would say, looking good for this encounter. They also have a very good head-to-head against Bangladesh. If you see, Chandresh, 18 matches they have won, only they've lost 3 against Bangladesh. Obviously, South Africa's they start favorites, but Bangladesh have the team to cause an upset. Only if the batting can complement the bowling, Bangladesh may challenge South Africa.
Yeah, let's see what happens in that particular contest. But in the meantime, the South Africa men's team is in action in the World Test Championship Test match, which is underway currently in Lahore at the Gaddafi Stadium. And they made a fantastic comeback in that Test match, triggering a collapse of Pakistan. Pakistan were nicely placed at 362 for 5, and their last 5 wickets fell for just 16 runs. South Africa's spinner Senuran Mutusami picked up 6 wickets, and Prenelan Subrayan picked up two. They made a nice comeback after the likes of Imam Shan, the captain of Pakistan, Mohammad Rizwan, and Salman Agha, all scoring runs. But there is nothing else from the other batters. That will be a worry for Pakistan because they were looking set for a massive total there in that first innings.
Absolutely, Chandresh. Two collapses for Pakistan in one innings. They were 163 for one, then they were reduced to 199 for five. All 4 wickets in that phase of play fell to the spin trio of, Pranithan Subrayans, Simran Harmer, and Senuran Mutasami. And then there was a century partnership, 163 runs between Salman Agha and Mohammad Rizwan. which took Pakistan, as you mentioned, to 362 for five. Before another collapse saw them folding up for 378. So last 5 wickets, just 16 runs, and I mean they wouldn't be happy. They would be at least hoping for 450 from that position. And now what this happened, the momentum sort of shifts towards South Africa. If they can bat well, they're back in this Test match. And Pakistan would not be happy with their batting performance. A big cause of worry for them would be the form of Babar Azam Chandresh. He just scored 23, another failure in Test cricket since 2024 in 17 innings in the format. He's just scored 409 runs at an average of 24, just 350s, no hundreds. Those are not good numbers for a batter of the caliber of Babar Azam.
Yeah, so let's see what happens. Meanwhile, in the test match at Delhi, the second and final test match between West Indies and India, West Indies have made a fine fight back in that test match after being asked to follow on the fantastic centuries by John Campbell and Shai Hope. Gave them a bit of hope, but they've also suffered a bit of a collapse, which can happen when you're behind in a test match. But good signs for West Indies, just in terms of the fight back from John Campbell and Shai Hope.
Absolutely. I mean, when they were when they were wrapped up for 248, in the first innings, and India enforced the follow-on, everyone thought that the match would be wrapped up within 3 days. It will be a big innings defeat for India. So much to everyone's surprise, West Indies have fought back in the second innings, and batting has been their bane over the last, I would say 1.5 decades, at least in Test cricket. But good to see John Campbell, a brilliant hundred. Shai Hope, we all know, is a class act. He's a fantastic record in ODI cricket, not so much in Test, but a very good dogged 103 by him. So a good fight back with the West Indies. Not expected. They've shown resistance. Yes, they may still go on to. I mean, India might still go on to win this Test match. Most probably at the end of day four. But still, good signs that the West Indies batters can apply themselves in this format, and they have, the team, at least to show us, at least to sort of, have some spine and, give India a fight in conditions, which are, I mean, which are sort of, not home to them. So, that's a big positive for West Indies in this Test match. They will try to sort of resist as much as possible, try to delay the inevitable. But overall, that's a big positive for West Indies. As far as India is concerned, overall they would be happy with their performance. I mean, if at the end of it it's 2-0, it's a big home win for them. It'll help them in the World Test Championship points table. This wicket is not as conducive for bowling, or for spinners as some of the other Indian wickets. This is a more of a batter's wicket. But still, if India can wrap up the match within 4 days, it will be a big win for India. They're happy to start the home season on a winning note, sweeping the series.
Yeah. Now, quickly moving to the question, the answer to the previous question that we asked on Friday. This was the answer. What was the question, Nikhil? Can you please explain to our viewers?
The question was, when did the men's West Indies Test team last win a Test match in India? So that was the question, Chandresh. And the answer to that was, West Indies last won a Test match in India way back in Mohali in 1994. So it's been a while when West Indies defeated India in India. So that was the question, answer to the a question for our last show.
Yeah.
Uh,
And moving on to the question of the day. Here it is. This is the question of the day, Nikhil.
Yes, the question for the day is, Smriti Mandana became the first woman to aggregate 1,000 plus runs in a calendar year in women's ODIs during a knock of 80 versus Australia at Visakhapatnam. Who held the record for the most runs in women's ODIs in a calendar year previously? So that's the question for the day.
Okay, so there you have it. The question of the day. You can be part of the conversation that Nikhil and I are having over here by simply liking, sharing, subscribing, and commenting on all our videos. You can reply to the videos and share your answers, your views, your insights, and let us know what you want included in the show. That's it for today. We'll be back again tomorrow. Till then, take good care of yourselves. It's goodbye and God bless from both Nikhil and myself.